Hi, welcome to Preps Plus Podcast, episode 22, brought to you by Sterling Auto Group. I'm Joshua Hart, sports editor here at the Daily News. I'm here with Jason Leskew, Preps reporter. Say hello, Jason, so they can hear your voice.
Hello, Jason. Can you hear me now?
We're here to break down all 9 Week 10 playoff games. We have 11 teams that made the playoffs. 2 of them are playing each other, and Nassau gets a bye. So that leaves us with 9 games this week. But pretty impressive showing for 11 of 14 of our teams to make the postseason. So good job on local football. We'll break it all down. We'll also have an interview that Jason had with Wyatt and Tyler Flanagan, 2 of our area's standouts, as they prepare to take on tough WF West team up in Chehalis this Friday. We will start though at the 2B level with Onalaska at Kalama. This will be probably a one-sided game. Kalama starts its postseason run at 9-0. Alex Dyer is throwing for over 75% efficiency at this point. A ton of touchdowns. Tucker Wetmore leads the area in receiving touchdowns. He leads the area in interceptions. He's having a standout year. Certainly one of the front runners, at least probably on the short list for All Area Player of the Year.
He leads the area in hair also.
Yes, that got some long locks out there underneath that helmet. But Kalama, Onalaska is not going to challenge Kalama this week. This is not going to be the week that Kalama gets challenged, and honestly, I don't see a team that can challenge them maybe until the state quarters. So, I expect certainly basically a walkthrough this week at Chinook Stadium. I will be with you at that game, so you can follow me at JT Hart 23. So I'll get that game out of the way and get back in the office. Then moving forward, we have Toledo at Ilwaco out on the coast, a rematch of a Week 2 game. Jason, I'll let you break this one down since you were at that Week 2 game. What are we expecting to see?
Well, I think we're going to see a little bit of a different story than we saw Week 2. That was a blowout. Toledo won by a large margin, and these are 2 different teams at this point. For Toledo, they're on their 3rd string quarterback. Duke Chaplow's taken over after 2 significant injuries at quarterback, and he's done everything he could. As soon as he found out that he was going to be the next guy up and have to start at quarterback, he spent a Sunday, or the bulk of a Sunday, working on mechanics and stuff. So, he's had a couple weeks of game action now. The key for Toledo is going to be to not fumble. They're pretty much all their losses this season have come with fumbles and untimely fumbles. On the Ilwaco side, as seems to be the case with any Kevin McNulty team, whether it's football, wrestling, what have you, they've improved through the season. And I think I have Toledo, as the winner in this one, but I think this one is going to be very close, and I also think it's going to be decided by who controls the first half.
And Ilwaco will be certainly pleased to get the monkey off their back that has been Toledo. This was the 3rd straight season they're facing off in an elimination game. So Ilwaco hoping to avoid that elimination to Toledo this week, out on the coast once again. Then also in 2B crossover, we have Rainier Washington, the Mountaineers, coming into Cathlamet. Rainier, obviously, with a strong quarterback in Zach Lofgren. They went down to Kalama and gave them a little bit of a challenge last year in Week 10. What do you think? What's your prediction on what will happen this week now that Rainier's coming to Cathlamet?
I think Wahkiakum is probably going to run away with this, literally and figuratively. They have 2 or 3 really electric running backs. You got Zach Brown. You have Chance Cothran, a freshman, who's the fastest player on the team last week against Tootle Lake. 2 touchdowns, 95 yards on 6 carries, if I remember correct. And then you have James Anderson, all area, pitcher Guy's got speed. He's a great pitcher. He's a really athletic kid. Also a good receiver out of the backfield, probably the best receiver out of the backfield for a pure running back position. And Zach Brown can also threaten as a receiver. He's got more size to him, and so he can fight for those 50-50 balls if he needs to, that sort of thing. And Wahkiakum also has a indescribable home field advantage there in Cathlamet. That's something that's been echoed to me by multiple 2P coaches. For some reason, nobody can explain why, but Wahkiakum does extremely well at home, and so I think they're going to just run away early with that.
Very interesting. This will be our closest as far as our Pigskin Profits prediction goes. We're split down the middle, 4-4. So as far as our profits go, we think it's going to be pretty even.
Who does Rick McCorkle have?
I don't remember.
Rick McCorkle's threatened for first place. He's first place. He's the only person or group of people ahead of him are you people who have done exceedingly well. You guys are the top dogs, but Rick McCorkle's threatening y'all this week, so get your picks in.
I am, however, in last place, but tough draw for Rainier and Wahkiakum, both 2-loss teams, and because Rainier's in that mountain division behind Adna and Napavine, I would think that in any other division they would be a contender for a second or third seed, or a second seed possibly, maybe in the river, a third behind Wahkiakum. Going over to the 2A level, we have Woodland going up to Chehalis to take on WF West. I broke this down a little bit for the KELA pregame show this morning on the radio. That'll be on KELA right before the games Friday night. But very interesting game. Woodland is known for its offense with Wyatt Harsh and Tyler Flanagan. But you look at the last few weeks, their defense is where it's at. They haven't allowed more than 20 points since a Week 3 loss to Hawkinson. They have guys like Jacob Flanagan, Brock Murray, and then obviously defensive backs, you have Wyatt Harsh, Tyler Flanagan. This is a team that's really loaded on defense, and while their offense is going to make the most noise and get the most headlines, both of these defenses entering this game are I think, going to decide it. It's going to be who can control the game on defense, who can control time of possession, those type of things. I expect it to be low scoring up in Chehalis this weekend. I think WF West has the advantage. They've been known for their defense for the past few years, but as I said on the radio, when Woodland is on, it's very hard to stop them. Right. When that Woodland offense gets going, you saw Christian Yeager last week set the school record in touchdowns in a game with 4 over Mark Morris. Wyatt Harsh can be slippery. Tyler Flanagan, if he's in single coverage, they're going to him. So it'll be an interesting game. Jason, you'll be up there in Chehalis, so you can follow him at JLescu-TDN. Jackson Hogan will be our news reporter. It will be out at in Cathlamet, so you can follow him also at Jackson Hogan 94. Looks like you have something you want to say.
I do. I think out of all the teams that we have playing tomorrow, I think Woodland's the one that might be most dangerous, including Kalama, and the reason is because they've changed their offense around. They finally come together, and so any tape that a team has to prepare with goes out the window. So,
and I like Mike Woodward's where his mind's at right now, because of that tiebreaker game. The reason they are the 3rd seed is because instead of trying to go for the tie and just settling for the extra point, Woodward went for 2 against Columbia River. They didn't get it, but I like that confidence. I like him saying, hey, we're going to go get this, and I bet you that carries over into Friday. Now's a good point, though, to break into our interviews, or Jason's interview with Tyler Flanagan and Wyatt Harsh yesterday, so we will go straight to that.
I'm here with Wyatt Harsh and Tyler Flanagan, receiver-quarterback duo, Woodland High School Beavers, who have won 3 straight, 3.5 straight, I guess, if you include the tiebreaker there. I don't know how that technically would go down in the standing, but And you guys really have rolled the last couple games. I mean, it's. Have you guys figured something out or kind of gotten to mesh, more than you had been earlier in the season?
Well, Coach Woody switched our offense to empty, and it's kind of opened things up a lot for us because whatever the defense does, usually they're not right because if they leave 5 in the box, I can run the ball, and our line has been doing great blocking and protecting me. And then if they put 6 in the box, it's going to leave one of our receivers open. Our receivers have been really good this year, and frees Tyler up in space, which is really helpful because he's a really good athlete and makes people miss. So I feel like the empty offense has helped us a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like our athletes out wide have been doing a great job. Like our receivers been stepping up and going empty has helped our line just straightforward block, and then it makes it simpler for them too. And they've been doing a really good job. And then like some plays we have them go to the linebackers and block like the one linebacker in the box, and they've been doing a really good job in doing that. So.
Okay, and you guys have a ton of really talented receivers. I think you got speed. Alex Bishop provides size. Like I really like Christian Yeager's kind of physicality and the fact that he'll go. He might be smaller than the DB or whoever, but he'll go in and fight for it. And it seems like he wins recently more than he loses those. So I can certainly see how that would be for your guys' roster really beneficial. And as a quarterback, I'm sure you love it.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun to go out there and throw to all different receivers. We don't have a bad receiver that I'm like, I shouldn't throw to him. He hasn't been having a very good week or whatever. But through the entire season, I've had full trust in the receivers. They really stepped it up, and the line has given me time every game, which has helped.
Nice. And you, the closest game of the last 3 regular season games was the Washougal game. It was still a 13-point. It was 20-7, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. How much confidence does that provide where you are up big in the final couple regular season games? Does that do anything for you, or does it?
Yeah, it's just kind of the momentum going into playoffs helps a lot, and I also feel like our offense is peaking at the right time, and our defense has been playing lights out the past few games, not letting up big plays. So that's really helped us a lot.
Yeah, our defense has been clicking, playing as a team, filling, and then our offense has just been rolling, like you said, with our line, starting with our line, and then going with Wyatt, and then our receivers have been doing a great job too. So.
Okay, and you guys have a retooled offensive and defensive line, I guess, with Logan moving around a bit, and then has Jason Bowman been playing on D-line at all?
No, not on D-line.
Okay, just O-line.
Yeah.
How's he endured the first regular season of his high school career?
He's been doing good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been sacked from my blind side all year. So for a freshman to do that, that's big time.
Yeah, his confidence is really high too, and he doesn't get down himself, and we do a good job to keep him up if he does get down, but he does a really good job out there.
Okay. Now going into the playoffs, have your guys' have your goals shifted, or has the focus of any one aspect of football shifted for you guys at all?
I think the goal going into the season was to make the playoffs, and we've done that. So I feel like the goal now is to get as far as we can in the playoffs, but take it one game at a time. We can't look past any opponent at this point because all the teams now are really good, or else they wouldn't be where they are now.
Okay.
So
I just feel like we just gotta get the job done, just focus and take it 1 week at a time, and just do what we can and do what we do best and get the dub, I guess.
Okay. How are your guys' bodies feeling at this point? I mean, are you guys beat up or better than you might expect?
We're pretty healthy. Like that's what I realized during our playoff tiebreaker thing. I was like, after each game, Columbia River had a few guys out, and Washougal had a few guys out, and I was looking around. I was like, we don't have any of our better players or solid players that have gotten hurt and are out right now. So we're still pretty healthy though. So that's nice.
Yeah, I feel like we've got a few dings here, but nothing that's really held anybody out, which has helped us a lot.
Right. And I remember you had an ankle.
Yeah.
It was an ankle earlier in the season. Yeah. You had a shoulder. Or you came out at least. You went back in, but it looked like you were hurt still.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with it. There's some nerve or something that's pinched. If I just get hit just right, then my arm starts hurting, and it hurts a lot, but it's nothing that's going to keep me out from playing. Or it'll keep me out for a play or two, but that's it.
Right.
Just get
get it back working.
I think that's normal too. I mean, you get hit in the shoulder, especially by the crown of a helmet, or some just guy who's running 20 miles an hour and he's 250 pounds. Kind of is generally the result, right?
Yeah.
So, has there been a surprise for you guys on the roster this season, or maybe a coaching staff or a scheme that's worked well that you didn't think it would? Or
Well, one thing about the roster, I feel like teams kind of underestimate us because you don't have that many kids. I mean, we walk out and there's 30, 40 kids on our team, and then they walk out, there's 50, 60 players, and I think they're like, wow, they're small, like, because our size is small too, but there's no quit in our team, and we're not scared to play anybody. I mean, so I think that's really helped us too. There's no fear. Like, Woody always tells us, like, he's never seen a team like us that before any game has never been nervous. Like, we're always loose in pregame. But I just feel like that's helped us a lot too with playing loose and not being scared of any opponent. Because like, I'll take the Hawkinson game for example.
Right.
Like, we walk out, we got our 30 kids or whatever. They walk out, big kids, and I mean, we hung 28 points on them. I mean, we still lost the game, but that's the most points anybody's ever put up on them. And nobody was scared to go up against them. We're all jacked about it, wanted to knock them off again. So I think that's helped us a lot.
okay.
And I feel like our defense, especially, like, we're such like a tight knit group. Like, we just fly around and like we trust each other, and it's like we know we have each other's backs out there. So it's like we're not scared, and we know who's gonna do what, and we just go out there and perform.
Right.
Like what he was saying about like having 30, 40 guys out there, like they come out with all their huge linemen, and there's like 20 of them, and they're like big guys walking out, and they're like, oh, here come the Hogs. And our Hogs are like 6 foot, like 190 guys, and there's like 6 or 7 of them. We're like, yeah, let's go.
Right.
These are our dudes.
Well, at least Bowman's, that guy's huge.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are surprised he's a freshman.
Oh
yeah.
It'll be good.
Oh,
Next
yeah.
couple years.
I'm just scared about how big he's going to get. He's what, 6'3" now?
Yeah.
So.
Him and Bishop are our tallest players.
Right. Well, it's funny with those two because Bishop's still a stick basically, right?
Yeah.
So, you guys, one thing like when we have on our podcast here have talked about kind of teams and how when we make our weekly picks, like one thing I've consistently said is you guys have had the talent, but there's been a hit and miss some weeks, and kind of going back to those 3 straight wins, it seems like. Which is why I asked, like, how much has changed and that sort of thing, because I think now, though the roster might be undersized, you guys are obviously the smallest 2A by the WIA enrollment standard, and stuff like that. But you guys have, it seems like more sheer talent than maybe any school in the GSHL 2A, and certainly in our general area. What's gone into that? Has there been maybe extra time in the weight room over the summer? Has there been spring football that's contributed? What do you guys think?
I think, like, Coach DJ Malinowski does Beaver Strength in the summer, and he has one designated time for football players to come in, and he puts us through a workout. And I feel like that's really helped us come together as a team. And then, like, Tyler and I used to always just throw on our own, just me and him.
Right. And
then this year we started inviting more people to come. I think that's really helped us with chemistry, like quarterback and receiver chemistry, and then also doing 7-on-7, like scrimmaging against schools around the area, I think has helped us as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, like at the end of every workout, we'd do like a team thing, like a team workout, and like you have to like pick a partner or something just to like, and you have to do something, like it's just you and him, and you have to compete against everybody else, and you have to trust your teammate to like just hold the weight or do something, just like it's just you and him, you have to go out, and that felt like that helped us with the team bonding and to get that going. And like he said, 7-on-7 helped us a lot with like chemistry and like route running and stuff. And like near like middle of summer, we worked on like a couple of days out there, like actually like route running and like how to like stem guys and like where to break it off and how to run some routes. So I feel like that's contributed a lot to this year too.
Okay. And have you seen, it seems like statistically, the ball's been spread around really equally. Christian Yeager That was just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
4-touchdown game.
Yeah.
Just last week, Bishop's got. He's still the reception leader too for the team, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and so have you seen, as a result of some of that stuff, more openings in the defense and less kind of double coverage or bracket coverages?
Yeah, I feel like going empty, it makes it like them to create more space, and then like it creates them to get one-on-one opportunities and not have safety help. And they're really good athletes too, so they can get by. They have chances to get by guys one-on-one and burn them. And they do a good job doing that, and they execute. And then they kind of go over to them, so it frees up me sometimes, and then we take what's open, and our receivers do a good job getting yards after the catch. So that just kind of opens everything up.
Right, and you just had 174 yards or so in this last game. How much of that was the result of finding openings, getting a defender out of position, and just the entire field in general, and that sort of thing?
I mean, Woody did a good job. Like, we saw some openings, and he's like, "Oh, let's run this," and then he does a good job of like having us, if we see something that's open, like just tell me and we'll run it. And then we did that on the 80-yard touchdown. We just ran like up the middle of the seam, and he hit me and with an 80-yard touchdown. And then so he just does. He doesn't care who gets the ball or who's open. He just wants to get who's ever open. And it's like we're not going to force the ball to someone. We're just going to who's ever open. Let's just give him the ball.
Okay, is that your guys' favorite route? Was just running the seam?
Yeah, either that or fade. Because I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in the area, so no one's gonna keep up with him.
Right.
And like he said, like Woody's good about receivers coming back to the sideline. Like in our last game, Alex Bishop had like 3 or 4 catches in the first quarter, or in the second quarter. I don't think he had a catch, but he was telling Woody like what was open, and that's what we ran I think 3 of the same plays on Christian Yeager's touchdowns, and that's what Bishop called because he knew the corner was biting on the slant, so we just ran a slant and go.
Right.
And Yeager's wide open. So I mean, and then in the tiebreaker, Tyler told Woody something's open. Woody's like, all right, perfect, let's run it. So I mean, Woody does a good job of that, and he knows the receivers aren't being selfish either. He knows they're really trying to get other people the ball like in space, and then Woody also, he's not like, don't just run your route to run your route. He goes, find grass, because I feel like that's helped us a lot too, because we don't just run routes just to run them. If it's not there, they're moving to the open space and grass, so that also helps when I'm scrambling around.
Got it.
So
and I feel like the trust from Woody with us is really great, because he knows like we're not selfish, like he said, and it's like we understand the offense because it's pretty basic, and we understand what's going to be open against different coverages and what they're running. So he has good trust, and he knows we have a different perspective of it, and not on the sideline what he can't see and what he can see. So he does a good job of that.
Okay, and both your dads are on the coaching staff. How different do you think that makes, like the going home? Do your dads ride on the bus with you guys too?
Yeah, mine does.
no, mine doesn't. He drives.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So how unique or how fun is that, especially after a win, to have your dads like kind of there with the party sometimes, or Gatorade showers and that sort of thing?
It depends.
Yeah.
Depends on how good you do. I mean, my dad won't get super mad, but he'll go over film with me, tell me what I should have done, tells me what's going to be open this week, what I need to work on during practice. So, I mean, sometimes I don't want to listen to him, obviously, but like at the same time, I kind of have to because he's right about stuff. So,
Okay.
but then on another note, like if we're doing good, he's always the first one to congratulate me or tell me good job or whatever. So it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like for me it's like a good bonding time with my dad. Like after a win and stuff, like always he comes home after he hangs out with like the coaches and stuff, and we just sit and eat and like talk for a while and just hang out and talk about the game, and then but if the defense doesn't do good, well, it doesn't. It's like it's not too good in the whole house.
Yeah. I saw him just this past Saturday morning at Lewis River when your sister was running. And he was saying he basically got home, slept for 2 hours, watched film, and hit the cross country course. Is that about right?
Yeah, he doesn't sleep too much, and like he's always watching film on like the weekends and stuff. Like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go out and get something to eat or something. He's always up watching film and studying. He's like, "Oh, do you see this on film?" And I was like, "No, Dad, I'm sleeping." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Make sure you watch film." I'm like, "All right." And he's just always studying and figuring out what we can do better, and he just tries to help the team win.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his dad does a great job with the defense, with our schemes that we're running against different teams, and studying film. I don't think a coach on the staff watches more film than Coach Flanagan, which is good.
And I feel like his competitiveness just comes out a lot of him. He doesn't like to lose and doesn't like giving up yards, so he makes really good adjustments throughout the whole game and during halftime, just to stop the other team so he can help us win.
Okay. And one thing that I think both you guys have probably seen the evolution. I'm not sure Woodland hasn't had. Has Woodland had sideline video replay for more than 2 seasons?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think we had it last year, did we?
No, I think this is our first year.
Oh, this is your first
Yeah.
year. How much different has that made things for you guys?
It's helped a lot because, I mean, we have the end zone camera too. So for
Okay.
the linemen, they can, Coach Anderson on the sideline can make adjustments with the line, or if someone missed a block, he can correct them. Or like on a run play, tell Tyler and I to make an adjustment on where we're running. And then also just seeing coverages, seeing if safeties are rolling, if corners are bailing or whatever. So I think that's helped us a lot.
Okay.
I think it's helped us make in-game adjustments and not having to like wait for one of the players to come over and tell us. They can just see it right after the plays ran.
Okay.
And that's like, I feel like that's helped us the last few weeks on defense because like we can see if we're aligned right and like if the linemen or the D-line's doing their job and linebackers are doing their job and if the corners are doing their job, and it's just, you can see like an overview of what's going on, not from the sideline, and see if we're blitzing the right gaps or if we're shooting the right way and stuff. So, and you can make adjustments off that.
Okay. And how much different is that? I mean, obviously you guys have had, a coach in the box with a headset on and that sort of thing. What difference is there having that instant replay, do you guys think, versus just a coach with the mic?
Like a coach with the mic, like he can explain something, but at the same time, you're 2 different people. You could be thinking about something else that's going on. With the camera, you can just point right at it, and you guys are on the same page. And I feel like it makes it a lot easier to visualize and picture what the defense is actually looking like on the field. So I feel like that helps a lot.
Yeah, it helps you understand and visualize and just like get quick and to the point. Like you can't like argue about it either because it's like the film doesn't lie. You did this or you didn't do it. It's like it's pretty blatant. It's like this is open or it's not, and these guys are doing what. So
Okay. And what about halftime adjustments? When are you guys able to watch a clip or two when you guys go in the locker room?
Yeah, if a coach wants us to see it, he'll show us. But most of the time at halftime, Woody talks about the offense, and Woody doesn't really show a lot of plays.
Okay.
Coach Hibby, which is the quarterback coach, will sometimes show me plays or tell me what's going on. And then Glenn just talks about defensive adjustments they want to make.
Okay.
yeah, and then our coach Matt Anderson, line coach, I feel like he does a good job too. He just watches it and sees like holes and like stuff and where we need to hit, and just he doesn't really show us. He just tells us, and he knows that we know where to go. So just make a little adjustment here and there.
All right, do the Marshawn. I see the hole. I hit the hole.
Yeah.
You guys seen that clip before, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love Marshawn. So kind of to wrap up here, your last season at Woodland, period, and how is there any one memory that you feel like? I know the season's not over.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like winning a title would probably be the pinnacle. But so far, has there been a memory that you think you'll cherish forever?
I mean, it's hard to pick out just one. I mean, all the way from my freshman year, handing the ball off to Eli Whitmire and throwing to Trevor Huddleston and all those guys. I mean, those guys were freaks. And I don't know, just all the memories I've made with Tyler, Alex, Bishop, like all those guys, just all the relationships and stuff that I've made. And I just feel like I'll cherish all the memories forever. So just all the memories I've made with my teammates, and I just won't ever forget those.
There you go. Then what's going to be your favorite memory, Tyler, of Wyatt?
Probably Wyatt. I would say against Richfield last year, he was it fourth down?
Yeah.
It was like 4th and 16 from like the 40-yard line. He ran like sideline to sideline, back to the other sideline, and broke a couple kids and like ran like 300 yards to get his 40-yard touchdown. But it was like one of the sickest plays I've ever seen.
Okay.
And we're all going crazy, and that was like crucial time too because we're only up like a touchdown or so that helped us a lot too.
Okay.
It was a freak play.
Was he out of breath?
Oh yeah, he was tired.
Did he fall over?
Luckily, it was halftime.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got a good 12-minute break there.
Yeah, big boy's not used to running that much.
Yeah, that's funny because I remember like that week, like Woody was talking about having me run more,
Mhm.
but like we never really inquired it because I mean we have this kid back there,
Right.
which helps a lot. But and then I did that, and I remember Tyler was like yelling out, he's like, "Look at you run! Look at you run!" after the play. I'll never forget that as long as I live, for sure.
Okay. All right. Right on. Any kind of final thoughts as you enter, a big playoff game?
I mean, like our linemen, I want to tell them thank you. I mean, a lot of people doubted them. I mean, a lot of them were freshly like just thrown in the mix, and they've done an outstanding job this year. And I mean, we're only using 5 guys to block most of the time, and running empty. I've barely been sacked, which is amazing for kids just being thrown in there in the mix at the beginning of this season. So I feel like they've done an outstanding job this season.
And to add on to that, like not only them just being thrown in there, but most of them been like training most off season to like Jacob Flanagan's been trained to be like a tight end, and Logan wanted to be a tight end, and
Is it Logan Knight?
yeah, Logan
Okay.
Knight,
All
and
right.
then Elijah Schultz, he's a backup center. He's trained to be a running back, and Jack Ware was trying to be a running back, but then they all just sacrificed for the team and said, "I'll be a lineman and be in the trenches all game." So I appreciate that a lot from them.
All right. Well, thanks guys for coming, and we'll bounce back to Josh and playoff picks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're back. We'll move down to the 1A level at this point. Castle Rock is traveling to Hoquiam. An interesting matchup certainly there. Hoquiam has had some successful football teams over the years, but Castle Rock's starting to really feel this. If you take out the very tough game against La Center, they were on a 3-game win streak. Their run game was finally getting going. Nathan Holliday seems fully healthy back at linebacker. This is a team that can compete with anybody, and I think one of those teams they can compete with is certainly Hoquiam.
Mm-hmm.
I think the home field advantage will definitely help Hoquiam. It's a lengthy drive out there. Hoquiam has just they have a pretty storied field, and I've seen teams before go out there that are favored and go out there and get beat up on. So I think Eric Boswell will have his guys ready. It'll be interesting to see both the Evergreen 2 seed and the Trico 2 seed. Good on Castle Rock for grabbing that after an 0-5 start. So I don't know. I don't know what Eric Boswell's got up his sleeve. I think it'll be a good game at least. Also, back down to the 2B level for a second. Tuda Lake's traveling to PL Willapa Valley. That game will be held at Willapa Valley's campus in Menlo. What did you see from Tuda Lake last week? What should we expect to see this week, Jason?
I saw a really exciting offense. They went toe-to-toe. It was so against Wahkiakum last week. There was 1 punt and 1 fumble. Other than that, there were no turnovers. Wahkiakum effectively won on a turnover just before halftime, right about the 40-yard line, which was then converted into plays. The final play being something that really only happens, in movies most of the time, that sort of thing. And that decided the game against a really talented Wahkiakum team. Tuda Lake can do a lot of things well. They can throw the football, they can run the football, and they play very good defense. I've also seen PWV up in Toledo this year, and I expect Tuda Lake to win this one.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be certainly an upset. PWV, I think number 6 ranked in the state right now. Graven Horse certainly always has his guys ready, but I think what we saw last year with Wahkiakum going up to PWV shows just how talented PWV is. But it is a new year. I like the bold prediction. Marshall Coleman being back certainly is a good addition to the Ducks squad. Over in Oregon, we have Rainier taking a long Friday night road trip to Lapine. Now, if you don't know where Lapine is, it's just south of Bend. So we're talking about a 3.5, 4 hour drive, maybe 4.5 with a stop at McDonald's or something. It's going to be a long day. They're not going to get back till 4 in the morning, something like that. But it's an interesting matchup. Lapine is undefeated. They're 9-0. But they haven't really faced a whole lot. Their toughest opponent has been Coquille. They beat them 8-6. While as Rainier has been facing tough opponents week in and week out. Obviously, they had the tough loss to Klatskanai a couple weeks ago, but this is a team that puts up a lot of points. Their defense isn't as strong as it has been in recent years, but between the diesel and the spread, if you're not on your toes, you can really and have studied your film, you can really get beat up. So I personally expect Rainier to go out and win it, but we've seen what long road trips can do to high schoolers. It's really, really tough to get off a bus and just suddenly get, I'm sure they'll get there an hour and a half early and get their legs stretched out, but it's a very difficult thing to do.
236 miles.
Yeah,
just looked it up.
But an interesting thing is if Rainier gets by Lapine, they have an easier path than Klatskanai. They get to face number 3 Nissa in the quarterfinals, which is a much easier team than if Klatskanai gets by Vail on Saturday. They have to go play Santiam Christian. Much different caliber teams, even though one's ranked number 2, one's number 3. Santiam Christian, I think, is by far and away the best team in the state. So interesting draw. I think it's a pretty good one for Rainier. However, we do have Klatskanai, and that game's at Saturday at 1 p.m. They are saving Vail from like a 6-hour Friday night road trip. So nice on Klatskanai to hold that at 1 p.m. there on Saturday. The Tigers are rolling. I mean, they have the one loss all season to number 5 ranked Amity, and it was close in that one. The Tigers can play really, really good defense. They can score with anybody. Jakari Combs has been a breakout wide receiver. Cooper Blodgett can run. He can throw. They have James Hellman, who's a shifty, quick back. Tim Warren has this group in a great position here. Like I said, that matchup in the quarterfinals is looming, but they got to worry about Saturday, and I think they'll get it done. That's Saturday at 1 p.m. And then also on Saturday, we have Kelso taking on Mercer Island at McKenzie Stadium. That one's set for 4 p.m. Kelso looking to get back to the state tournament for the second consecutive year. And Mercer Island's not that bad a draw. I know Mercer Island beat Lake Washington in the tiebreaker, but it's also just a half a game, in that tiebreaker up in the Kingco. But Mountain View has to play Lake Washington, and we saw what Lake Washington can do as they beat Kelso handily earlier this year. So I think Kelso actually has a pretty decent draw to get into this. Mercer Island throws the ball a lot. They have a very high-octane spread offense. They're really going to challenge that Kelso defense through the air. But you have Emmett Kinch, you have Peyton Noah, you have guys that can play. I imagine Riley Noah will be back this week after going through concussion protocol last week. He's their leading tackler, so he'd be a big addition to have. But if Kelso's offense has been inconsistent, and if they can just get the run game going early, I think they can excel. They had that thriller obviously against Hudson's Bay, where their offense just kind of got shut down in the second half, and their defense suddenly looked vulnerable, allowing drives of 77 and 80 yards on two of the of Bay's first 3 possessions. But that's not typical Kelso. I think their defense gets it together. I think they win. Do you have a prediction for that game?
Yes, Kelso. Got to see them against Mountain View without A.J. Hoggett, and they brought it into overtime. That team with Hoggett is, and I mean no offense to anybody else on the team there, but with Hoggett, they're twice as good as without Hoggett. So,
yeah, you saw the leadership from Hoggett. It was kind of pandemonium, right? As that last drive is going, clock is ticking down. Hoggett falls down inbounds, right? They're trying to get the play call to him. And no one can really hear what's going on. Hoggett wisely says, "I want the ball under center, and I want green Z, right? Slant route to the slot." That was weird. Slant route to the slot, right? And it's Hoggett who calls this play. It's Hoggett who gets the guys lined up, and with 7 seconds left, it's Hoggett who snaps it and throws the ball. I mean, his leadership is just—he's such a mature kid. Real well spoken. He knows how to lead a team. Certainly a great advantage to have him back this week, and I know he takes a lot of pride in playing his final games as a Highlander. And especially after a knee injury, you can always, you don't take things for granted as much. Especially, he missed all of last wrestling season with a knee injury as well. So he knows what this means. He knows he wants to play another week. They might have to go to O'Day next, which wouldn't be a favorable matchup, but they certainly want to at least get the opportunity. That is all 9 games. We broke it down for you as quick as possible. I don't know if the interview was any quicker, but we certainly tried to keep it under 40 minutes this week. I hope we did so. But we'll be back next week. State volleyball's next week, so we'll hopefully have some information for you on that, as well as breaking down any of our remaining football teams. I imagine there will be a few. We know there will be at least one, but my bet would be on a lot more than that. So that's it for us this week. Thanks again to Sterling Auto Group for sponsoring this podcast, and we will be back next week.